on music and well-being. Right, so Shania says, I can hear, but I can't put the mic on. That's all right. So for both Shania and Lisa, whenever there is something that I ask you questions, if you don't mind putting them on the chat, that would be fantastic. So Shania is a music lead and class teacher, fantastic, in St. Mary's Marnell. Yeah, as I said before, this is not focused on the music curriculum. It's music in the school, generally music working with children. It can be applied to one-to-one. It can be applied to small groups. It can be applied for the whole class. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So let's see if we can get on going. So I will do with share. We'll include this. Oh, it says it cannot share sound. I don't know why. Okay. Right, let me just put this, see what happens. Can you let me know if you can see the presentation? Fantastic. Okay, so the first one we've already done is about yourselves and what, why you're here, who you are and what you're here. So the second one is an activity. We start away with an activity, and this is I will share the presentation afterwards with you on PDF format, so you can make notes, but you will have all this as well with you. I don't know if many teachers and school staff know this web page, the Noodles Go Noodle web page, and this is one on melting, but I'm not sure if you can hear. So if I can put it on, because let me just put it on. And then I'll share that one. I'm very sorry, but settings down. Right. Now, according to the video, you should be able to hear. Can you just give me either in the text or a thumbs up if you can hear or not? You can see the video, but can you hear it? No sound. Okay, this is going to be a problem. Okay, thank you for that. So I'm going to stop it because there's. Okay, I can see you now. Right, so this is going to be. I did try everything before we started and the sound did work. In fact, I think one of you was here when we had some sound, so I don't know what's happening there. Apologies for that. But I will describe, you saw the video a little bit, is a video about melting, so about calming down. And the video goes through instructions of how to move the body to make it calm down, calm down. And there is a very calming piece of music in the background alongside. That was just a little activity for us to do, a little bit like a warm up. Can you indicate if if you use this kind of you have been using this kind of activities with the children you work with, if you know this website as well that has lots of different resources. So Lisa or Diana, if you could, because you can talk. So a lot of call and repeat on GoDoodle. Yes, that's right, because they have so many different types of resources, don't they? And Diana is typing as well. I'm going to see in the meantime if I can do. So just bear with me meanwhile you are typing. Audio. Sound settings. We use sensory circuits, but you haven't used Go Noodle. So that would be something that, you know, you might want to try. Okay. As I said, this was just a little warm up for us, so it's not major. Hopefully I have sorted it out now. So I'm going to go back to the presentation, and the next screen is about definition of well-being. Let me just, no, it's having none of it. It's not going to do the sound. Apologies about this. It's not going to do the sound, but we'll put the presentation. I did change my settings, but it didn't change it. So, right. So this is for you. What do you know when you talk about well-being, when you think about well-being, about either yourselves or the children's well-being, what kind of things are you thinking about? So if you could put something in there, and then if I can put it here. Fantastic. So Diana's typing something about well-being, because obviously it's a word that's used so much, but it's like, well, what do we mean by that? What are we talking about, well-being? And Lisa's typing. So Diane is saying something about feeling safe. Feeling safe. So safety is high in the agenda of well-being. So the place is safe, the group is safe, the leader is safe, so the young person or the child feels safety. So something to do with safety. Fantastic. And I know, you know, you will have lots of experience with this. Resilience. So Lisa has put how resilient we are feeling today. Our mood as we are arriving at school or during the school day. So something about resilience and about the mood. Fantastic. So if I put the next screen on the presentation, there's so many definitions of well-being, but this is just 3 different concepts within it that appear repeatedly. And the first one is about safety, so about creating safer spaces. And the other 2 are to do with, well, you have talked about resilience. So it's resilience might be linked to the other 2, belonging and purpose, that are there. And the mood that you commented on, sometimes the mood we get in, or the children get in, or cannot, or are stuck, might well be to do with, definitely with safety, but also to feeling purpose in the space or in the group where they are, feeling belonging to it. Do they really belong to that group, or do they feel that they belong to that group? Because we might think from our perspective, yes, of course, I'm including them with this and that and the other, but it's what they feel. So yeah, so we're going to work with those, 3 concepts. And before going any further, I wanted to bring the voice of the children to this session. So I'll let you have a little bit of a read of that screen. Those are comments from children that have completed, music and wellbeing activities. Some of them will do today, or will go through them today. So that's a little bit what they say. Yeah. I'm not going to comment on those. As you say, you will have the presentation. So yes, you can read it later as well. Okay, so the children are here now with us, and we have heard their voices, although you hear them every day. And the other thing I wanted to say before I start with the main body of the day today is that I don't know if you are aware, but can you put thumbs up or anything in the chat about if you are aware about this wellbeing pack, music and wellbeing pack that is in the DMS website? So that it was created a couple of years ago now. And the first year was only accessed by member schools. But this academic year, we have made it available free for all schools. And that's just a screenshot. You can see it there. And there is the link as well. So this is a resource pack that after today, you know, well, anytime, but it will be much more familiar to you, hopefully, because it's sort of linked to what we are going through today. So can you just give me an indication if you were aware of this online resource? So it could be that so Diana wasn't. So yeah, as I said, okay, so that's something good already you can take from this session. You can use it, but anybody in your school can use it, not just for you, because you know, hopefully is very self-explanatory. But the content of today's session is going to go a little bit in the structure of that pack. So we are going to talk in the model. I'm going to share today the model that then we will apply to music activity, music ideas. Is all around regulation and this regulation. Just to and I don't really want to go on a lot about this because I think it's very familiar for teachers. They do, you know, they do regulation and regulation, and also link with trauma. So basically, with all the activities will, you know, I'll share with you today, and they are in the pack and many more. We're trying to basically help the children to come back to regulation, so to be able to manage their, as it says there, the self-response to whatever the present needs. So for example, those children that find it really difficult to go to school, to go through the door because of whatever reasons. So perhaps to help them with that transition, for example, or for those that have got really frustrated at playtime because some friendship issue that happened or something that happened in a game and they really get dysregulated. So how can we help them to come back? Yeah. And then trauma is, you know, unfortunately, quite a lot of children, more than we know a lot of the time, have suffered trauma early in their lives, or not necessarily early, and maybe, you know, yourselves or some colleagues. And what happens with trauma is that then it stays with us forever. And so our nervous system sort of gets overwhelmed easily when we have experienced trauma. So it depends how much trauma, which kind of trauma, and if has been treated or no. But, you know, obviously we're not talking today about music therapy. I am not a music therapist. We don't have music therapists in DMS. We are talking about trauma from just being aware of it and how, you know, perhaps some of these activities can help in the regulation part of what trauma causes. So far, can you let me know if you are still with me, if we are following everything okay? If you want me to repeat anything up to here, just let me know. All good here with I am fantastic. Lisa, I hope all is good with you as well, because I'm going to go now into the model that we have chosen to follow in DMS, just to make a structure around music and well-being. Yeah. So this is a model that two psychologists sort of design, one from Australia, one from Brazil, and they call it the mate's house, and they gave them the appearance of a house. So again, I'm not going to stop ages in here, but the idea of this model is that we as humans mostly live in the living area of the house, and that's the middle of that image. And that's in the living area is where we can function without where we can learn, we can play, we can do activities with others, we can be social. So that's where we can be ourselves and grow. So that's why there's a filing cabinet there, for example. Now, sometimes for whatever reason, there might be a trigger and we might be sent to the attic of the house where it's a little bit more difficult to be part of activities and to be rational, or we might be sent to the basement, which is again is a difficult place to be, and where we don't access our cognitive self so easily. So the attic, as you can see there, is to do with fight and flight responses. And I'm sure you're very familiar with fight or flight. There is some examples there. So it's where we go like, woo, we just lost it kind of thing. We tend to say it like that. So it's either us or the children. And the basement of the house is much more when perhaps we don't react, or we pretend we're not listening, or we just go to the corner of the classroom and we cannot engage in that sense. So it could be one of the other. And we all do this. We all have triggers and we go to one or the other. But I'm going back to the regulation we talked earlier. We all naturally know how to regulate and come back to the living area. It might take us longer or shorter, but we naturally know how to do that. Now, when we experience trauma, that becomes more and more difficult our ability to regulate gets smaller and smaller. And, the more that happens, the harder it gets. And that's why when we are in that situation is where we need help with regulation. We need help with coming back to the living room. I'm talking generally about we, but put that into the children as well, that, obviously you are hoping to use these tools. So these two psychologists in this MATES model suggest there are some keys to help others to come back to the living room. They call them keys, and they are there on the left. And you can say they read MATES. That's why they call the MATES model. And the first one is mind. The second one is air. The third one is tree. And then expression, and stretch. So I'm going to put them a little bit bigger in the next one. So 5 keys for us to help ourselves or others to regulate. And what we may use, it will be to do with what the situation is. And also sometimes it's a combination. It's not like they're pure, just only mind or only stretch or whatever. No, sometimes, and a lot of the times, it will be a combination. So the first one, mind, and I'm going to put the next screen because this is how it looks in the online resource that I shared with you earlier. So that was the top of the page. Further down the page, we have these 6 tiles. So 5 of them are the keys and then an extra one. And it sort of gives you a little idea what each one is about. And then you can go into each key and a whole set of activities come under each key. So mind is to do with putting the mind somewhere else kind of thing. It's like we need to move you from that mindset. We need to move you. You are stuck in there. Let's try acknowledge it, because that's important. We acknowledge it, but let's try and work and move yourself. I'm sure you do that with yourselves a lot, as well. So you're familiar with that. So the first is about helping the mind to go somewhere else because it's not in a healthy space right now. The second one is to help with air, with breathing, and apply to music. We do a lot of that with singing, particularly because for singing we need to regulate the air, we need to breathe in properly, and there is a rhythm in the breathing. So there's a lot to do with the breathing in the air. The trees one, the third one is, it says there, moving your feet and hands, but it particularly is like finding your feet, and it's also is like grounding. So again, linked to music, it will be a lot of activities that require movement, and not only movement like of the upper body, but particularly of feet and legs, and possibly going with the rhythm and just grounding. So a lot of rhythm work with the body. So that will be the trees. We will go through each one of them. I'm just going quickly now. So the fourth one, which is expression, is obviously very familiar. It's about, how you can express yourself through music. And there's many different ways of doing that. It could be with just singing a song that you like, and expression through it, or it could be with making up lyrics to a well-known song, and so maybe in that making up of the lyrics there is something coming out that is not easy that it is not easy to talk it, but it might be easy to sing it, kind of thing. And then more, we'll see. And the fifth one, I mean, stretch is purely a bodily, action. And the way we link it to music, it can be linked to music, is to stretch to music. So the music can help with the stretching action. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a little bit, because then we are going to go into each one. Just going to look how we're doing. So we lost Shiana. She obviously had problems with the connection. That's a shame. But how are we doing there, Diana and Lisa? How is it making sense? I mean, just give me one thought about the model I have just shared. So the mates model, the living room, which is the executive space, and then how a trigger can send us to the roof or to the basement. How do they look, and how we all naturally can regulate back to the living room, and how those keys, those 5 keys, may help those that struggle with regulating, with regulation themselves. I don't know if it's something like this for you. Is something very familiar, or is something, I don't know. If you can just put something on the chat, that would be great. And I can see you both writing, so I'm going to have a little drink meanwhile you write. So I don't know if you're reading, Diana, but Lisa has said, I like the different ways back with the keys. So there's, different alternatives, because sometimes we just need a big toolkit, don't we? So she says, as we can try different ones if one isn't working. Fantastic. That's what Lisa says. Diana says, it makes a lot of sense, and quite a simple model to understand and hopefully implement. So this, thank you for that, Diana. The idea is that, you're here doing this CPD today, but obviously just take it to your setting and sharing it as much as you can with, with other colleagues in the school. I mean, we have had schools that, the person coming to the training has become really interested and has tried a lot. And then they ended up sort of leading a CPD for their own school, for example. So that kind of thing, please use the resource as much as you can. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go back to the sharing, and now it's going to become a little bit more challenging, because in some of them, Obviously I did have music. Oh, sorry, not that one. I did have music that you would, sorry, I can do two things at the same time. Let me stop the sharing because that's not the one. That was the melting one. So I will have to describe the music, which is going to be interesting. Let's see how it goes. Anyway, this is where we left it. So if you go to the DMS website in resources, the link will be in this presentation anyway. You can get into the resource, and there's a lot of, there's an introduction, there is even some YouTube videos for you to delve into some aspects of the MATES model. And then we, as I said, we have these 6 styles. And if we click on mine, for example, there will be things like this one here. Some of the activities will be in mind, something like drawing to music, and it will be explained, an example of how you can lead an activity on drawing to music. I mean, as you can see, it hasn't got any secrets. It's basically putting music on, and the child draws to music. Yeah, and perhaps you with a child, if you're doing one-to-one or you're doing in a small group, well, each one has a piece of paper. It's quite important. It's a personal thing. So each one has a piece of paper and draws to the music. I mean, you might have choices of colors or not. You might have just one color. That's the kind of variation you can have. And then with a whole classroom, if you want to use it, with a whole classroom, well, it's the same. That's basically what it is. So the idea is that the music that you choose, or the music that you choose with a child, if it is just one or with a little group, with a big classroom is harder, but that will obviously have an effect on the child, which is what we're trying to do. We are in mind now, in the key of mind. So we are trying to distract that mind that is stuck somewhere. We're trying to move that mind, so that the music will be important. So the music is important, and the act of drawing for the child is very important as well. It's something they are actively doing to the music. So that's one of the activities that we suggest in that resource. And the other one, for example, underneath is body movements to match the pulse. And actually, I will I know you won't be able to hear it, but I want you to look at it. So I'm going to stop the sharing on that and do the sharing on this, and hopefully you will see. So now I should be singing myself, shouldn't I? I'm not going to do that. So this is how it looks. You can see there will be music in the background. You cannot hear, but it goes something like do 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 do. And it's very important that it's a very steady rhythm. So, and then there is other actions, as you can see. You can do this with a child, or you can ask the child to do it on their own, or the small group, or the whole class. So this is just one example. There is a lot of this kind of thing on YouTube. Yeah. But this one, if you know the track, obviously I'm aware you cannot hear it, but if you know the track, Uptown Funk, is quite an upbeat track that sometimes you might want to use an upbeat track. And there is all parts of the body being used for this one particularly. I'm going to stop it now and stop the sharing. So that activity was within the mind one, and is to do, again, we're doing something active. We are extracting them from a mind that is not helpful at the moment, and we're doing this through movements, body movements. But the music, again, the music element is very much part of it. And that one, did you see, it was a beat of 4. So that the beat, and steady beat, is very helpful on regulation and having to do something along a steady beat. And we will come out later. Now, the other activity suggested here, which is at the top, is about creating playlists. Yeah. So the next one, I'm going to go to the next one because it's specific about this. Just that. I don't know what do you have in your school, but so in some staff members in school use their own accounts in Spotify or Apple or whatever they have, or obviously it's possible to create playlists in a school account as well. Yeah, so Spotify is particularly easy one to do. You can create a playlist with the children. Um, and the playlist might be for one reason or for another reason. Again, if you're working for a whole class, you probably will have to lead much more yourself. But if you're working with just one-to-one or with a small group, and sometimes you can do this even within the classroom if you have headphones, if you have the availability of headphones, a small group, because I know space sometimes is a challenge in schools, can work in a corner of the classroom. And a child that might become dysregulated for whatever reason might have a favorite playlist, and if you have it there in an iPad, it can be a chance for that child to just have a listen to your playlist, and with your headphones, and even without going to a different space, that is a possibility. Now, Lisa, I know is more likely that you probably play with, oh, not play, work with either one-to-ones or small groups. So then you can, they can own those playlists much more than when we work with a whole classroom. And there's suggestions there why you might do a playlist. Obviously, a playlist can be just 2 songs or 3 songs. It can be much longer, but it can be just as short and as long as it's appropriate. And it might be for when I'm angry. So when I am angry, what do I like listening, or what do I know is sort of helps me? And you can do that work with your child, or all the other situations that says there. So going back just to mind, this is the first key we are exploring, and there is 3 different activities, and I say in that online resource that looks like this, in this one there is more than those 3 activities, but those are the 3 ones I chose to share with you today. Any comments about this, any of these activities, or any questions you would like to ask about these specific activities? Any doubts? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see the chat properly. So anything, so I'm going to put it in the chat. So the activities we had was drawing to music. It was moving to a music track. So in the meantime, if you have any questions or any comments to do with that, if you start typing, that would be fantastic. Moving to a music track, and I'm going to put steady beat, and creating and listening to playlists. And that's the other one. So those are the one we have explore with the first key, the mind key. Taking the mind somewhere else, because where the mind is at the moment is not helpful. So that's the idea of this first key. So I just wait for a little bit because I can see Lisa's typing, and Diana, if you have anything to add as well, feel free. So Lisa said, Lisa says, I think whole class is good for drawing to music. Yeah, that is the activity that is very possible for a whole class. And then you say, I think it's hard in my school to be able to play individualized music for children. that is something I will look into. Fantastic. So yeah, that's something after doing today's training, you might, if you talk with whoever you talk in your school, um, I mean, I always say having headphones in a school, but in a classroom for any of this kind of work is quite essential, because there is, yeah, some activities you can do for the whole class, but sometimes you might just need, say, to listen to a playlist, just one or two children have. And so if you don't have headphones, you cannot do that, obviously. So Diana says, I have created a mix playlist where everyone chooses a song and I put it onto a playlist for when they are working. Fantastic. So that's something, I guess, Diana, you do that because you have all decided that that's something that helps with working time. So like that would be a playlist for focusing. Yeah. So it's like, yep, it's our playlist. We have made it together. And now we're going to work on maths or whatever it is we're working. We'll put the playlist on. That play is helping for focusing. Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Diana, you mind me asking, how did you create your playlist? Have you used Spotify? Just because, I always like asking because then I can, yes, Spotify tends to be the one that is easiest to use for everybody. Just fantastic. Thank you. Right, so I'm going to go back to sharing. That was mine. And that's, up to now is when I spend more time. I'm aware it's a quarter to 5. So I will go through the rest a little bit more breezy. These are the ones I wanted to delve into them. So we have mind. The next one, oh no, actually, this is to do with mine. I just wanted to give you some visuals. This is all in the online resource. So this is one you can, when we said about drawing to music, you can specify more if you want. So for example, lines, only lines to music. Yeah. Or another one, and these are some that children have done. It could be shapes to music. So we're going to put, today we're going to concentrate on doing shapes to this music. So yeah, I will not say much more about that because we've already done drawing to music. Okay, again, on this one, I did say is air is about breathing. And it's about normally calming with breathing. So it's trying to get that out breath longer than a normal breathing. Yeah. And we definitely do that with singing in music always. So as you can see, the activities there, I'm not going to go into them because it's about singing along songs they are familiar with, or presenting them with a new song that might be exciting. And for example, I put there Tongo, which is a Polynesian song. Or then there is more specific work we can do with songs. And I don't know if you use Charanga, but Charanga is a music resource which is free for all schools of in Dorset. So if you don't use, you can. There's a couple of Charanga options there, which we'll explore a bit later, the okay one. So is to do with singing, but just sort of oracy generally. So you can, we can extend it to rapping as well, not just singing. And there is, as I put there, there's in the charanga that you can access in Dorset, there is a DMS section, and there is a very short video from one of my colleagues helping you to create, helping the children really to create their own rap. I highly recommend it because you can personalize it as much as you want, and it's very, very simple. So we've done mind. Now I have whizzed through air quite quickly. And this is how the It's Okay song in Charanga looks like. I do put this one because a lot of schools that use Charanga use the tab for the scheme of work and all the many resources there. But this tab is one that has well-being into it. So that's why I put the screenshot there. So it's the freestyle tab, which is next to a skin. It's got all sort of things, and one of them is well-being. And within that, there is 3 projects, they call them. Sorry, 4 projects. And I have chosen the It's Okay one because it's around singing and also puppets, the use of puppets as an option. Yeah, I'm not going into it but it sort of explains there. Is is to encourage students to talk about their feelings and focus on positive thoughts and actions when feeling, yeah, not that good, when feeling anxious, worried, sad. So I encourage you to, have a little explore of It's Okay. We don't have time to do it here today. Oh, no, sorry. So the next one is tree. So tree is about feeling grounded. And in theory, we would do an activity now, but it's especially using the lower part of the body. And I'm going to do it because I think you can see in my camera. So it's definitely about standing up gently. And we could do these exercises that I suggest there, standing up on the spot. And that might be what is appropriate, like stamping on the beat. Yeah. But it could be that is using the space as well. So it could be, stamping in the space, or as it says there, another activity, it may be dancing in the space, but moving with it. Yeah. And it may be as well as about not free dancing or free stamping, but making up routines, yeah, with the feet. So I'm going to do it with my hands. If these are my feet, if you imagine they are my feet, just exploring patterns through stamping through the lower part of the body. Like it could be as simple as, 2 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or it could be something like front, back. Really, really simple patterns, yeah. And or you might stretch them, or they might stretch you if you ask, why, what pattern can we do with the feet? Keep it short, keep it in fours or in eights along the track that is chosen. But it might be that is front, back, side, 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 front, back, and then, and so on and so on. So patterns are very important in regulation. I did say that already with mind. And fours and eights are very common in music, in many, many, many tracks that you can choose. Fours and eights, are very common. So it's nice to challenge to do patterns in fours and eights alongside tracks. So three is about feeling grounded, using feet and legs particularly. And I did have a little activity for us. And you probably know this is on the song Mission Impossible. And this was just about tapping along with the rhythm. Yeah, and sometimes depending how the children come, tapping along, sitting down is all what is needed. So, there can be just calm tapping rather than crazy dancing, crazy tapping around the room. Obviously you will be the judge of that. So just a quick recap. We have done mind, taking the mind away somewhere else, more helpful. We have done air, which is with the breathing, calming breathing, singing, rapping. We have done tree, which is grounding, using the feet, using tapping, either in one space or moving around. And it can be in pairs as well, obviously. Right, so we are going into express, which is the fourth key. Now, there's so much we can do with music and self-expression and expressing. So suggestions about lyrics that we make up to put into backing tracks, for example. There is things like this. I will go to the next one. So there is a linking music, matching music, or linking music to pictures, and they can be theme pictures. In this case, the theme is food. It can be that you choose the theme of landscapes, or it can be the theme of sports, whatever you think is going to attract that child or that group of children or the whole class. So this again is quite an easy one to do for a whole class, and it's about putting a piece of music that you choose, with the children or yourself, and it's like, okay, what kind of food it is, and through that, then talking about it is when the children access, the expressive part. Yeah. So it's sort of describing the music through food in this case. Yeah. And the other one is emotional, sort of using emojis to convey the emotion of the piece of music, of the expressing through emojis, maybe. So having music for one, for sadness, for being angry, for being confused, for one of them, or also describing a piece of music through emojis. Sometimes that will help them. Again, all this is in the web page, and then you will be able to copy and all that. So the other one is making tracks with them to different emotions, making tracks with the children. And there is quite a lot of resources in Charanga on how to make tracks. This is the easiest, the one I would advise you to try first. And again, it's in that freestyle tab that I mentioned before, and it's called Quick Beats. And very quickly, and it's only about beats, so there's no melody, there's no guitars, pianos, whatever. It's just beats, drums, and all sorts of different percussion. So they can make up beats to the different emotions, for example, yeah, and that they can make them on their own with headphones on again, and then you can have in pairs. They can make them with splitters. They can work in, or you can make them all as a classroom from the main screen. Yeah. So it's many options. I would advise you to explore this one in expression. It's another way of expressing through beats. Right, so then we come to the last one, which I'm not going to stop a lot because it is much more to do with the body, and we use music alongside rather than it being a specific musical activity. So certain pieces of music will be more, it will feel better to use to for this kind of activity. So there's some pieces of music that are, maybe they stretch, the melodies stretch more, or they feel like fast stretch or really slow stretch. They are very important, but it's basically about stretching. And again, it can be done on the chair, it can be done on the spot, and the music part of this activity is helping the action, helping the stretching. Yeah, so that's why I'm not stopping very much on this one. Right, I'm going to stop the sharing, and just, we are about to finish. Before we finish, I would like to ask you either if your microphone is working or on the, chat, if you would like, if you have any questions or anything you would like to comment on. As I said, you will receive this presentation. You will have all, I will tell you where the recording will be safe as well for you to access. And in the presentation, you will have the link to the page, although it might be useful if I put it here as well, so you can have it from now. Let me just put it here. I can see somebody's writing, so just go on with the writing. Come on, that's it. Sorry, I'll read in a minute your comment, Lisa. I think it's Lisa that wrote something. That is the link to the bed. So Lisa, I don't have any questions. Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you. The resource will be great to share with the staff at my school. Please do as much as you want. And if you have any questions, in a month's time or whatever, feel free to contact me through the DMS email, and I'm very happy to help with anything specific that you or your colleagues might want. Thank you very much, Lisa. There is the link. You will receive everything anyway. Diana, you're typing, so I'll wait for you.
No, I was going to type, but I thought I might as well just
Here
speak to you now. We're not recording.
And stop the
Um,
recording, yeah.
yeah. No, I just wanted to say thank you. The only thing that I can't quite get my head around is comparing the music to the food or the food to the music.